On December 21, 2020, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, filed a high-profile enforcement action against a major cryptocurrency company. The SEC complaint alleges violations of federal securities laws by defendant Ripple Labs, Inc. Ripple. Founded in San Francisco in 2012, Ripple is a well-established company, and its founders are regarded as pioneers in the crypto industry. Welcome to Moneyside. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more. The SEC complaint alleges that Ripple sold its cryptocurrency, named XRP, as an unregistered security. The SEC argues that XRP is a security and not a commodity or other type of asset, because it was generated, distributed, and sold by Ripple in a, quote, centralized fashion, end quote. Is XRP an investment contract and thus a security under U.S. securities laws? The outcome of the Ripple case will largely depend on whether XRP is a, quote, investment contract, end quote, under U.S. securities laws, thus making it subject to registration requirements under the Securities Act of 1933. The U.S. Supreme Court's decision in SEC versus W.J. Howey Company provides that an investment contract exists when there is, quote, an investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of others, end quote. SEC versus W.J. Howey Company, 328 U.S. 293, 1946. The SEC has already indicated that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities due to their decentralized nature, which is a hallmark of blockchain applications. The Bitcoin blockchain is a distributed ledger that maintains a permanent and immutable record of all transactions. There is no central entity that mints or distributes Bitcoin. Instead, transactions are verified and Bitcoin is mined by a series of nodes, which is a widely distributed network consisting of hundreds of thousands of individuals across the world. Since there is no central entity whose efforts are a key factor in developing or distributing Bitcoin, it is not considered to be a common enterprise with profits derived from the efforts of others. Therefore, it is outside the scope of the Howey test and is not considered a security. Ripple, on the other hand, is viewed differently by the SEC, which has taken the position that the development and distribution of XRP was conducted by Ripple in a centralized way. One of the examples given by the SEC is that Ripple, by itself, minted the entire supply of XRP when it was first launched. For its part, Ripple is seeking to review the SEC's internal discussions about XRP and whether the SEC believed it was an investment contract. Some observers believe that if permitted, this development could hurt the SEC's case against Ripple and XRP. Criticisms of the Ripple lawsuit. Many observers from the crypto and business communities have been critical of the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple. Some worry that it could cripple a nascent industry that seeks to make technology, finance, and money itself accessible to more people. Others point out that the lawsuit was hastily conceived, given that it was filed one day before Chairman Jay Clayton resigned from the SEC. In fact, only 3 of the 5 SEC commissioners approved filing the Ripple lawsuit, the minimum threshold for an SEC action to proceed. Still, others point out that the case doesn't seem to involve any harm to investors, that the SEC has known about XRP since 2013, and that XRP is a legitimate technology with a market capitalization of approximately $25 billion. Some would argue that it would make more sense for the SEC to wait and pursue a more clear-cut case under the Howey test in order to develop more case law on this issue. Former SEC chair and current Ripple defense attorney Mary Jo White said, quote, "There's no way to sugarcoat it. The SEC is dead wrong legally and factually," end quote. Is there a mutually beneficial outcome on the horizon? As a major crypto case brought by the SEC, the Ripple lawsuit may have a significant impact on the future regulation of not only cryptocurrencies, but also blockchain and financial technologies, fintech applications, which operate using similar technologies. Moving forward, it may make sense for the SEC to implement reasonable, measured regulations for cryptocurrency, blockchain, and fintech companies. Also, Congress could provide a framework for the regulation of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, but this may be unlikely in today's political environment. For now, the SEC is likely to lead the way in balancing the interests between a regulatory framework that protects the investors yet is suitable for crypto companies seeking to develop legitimate new technologies. A balanced regulatory framework would ideally benefit the crypto industry by providing a roadmap for future compliance and predictability about permitted activities. While the outcome of the Ripple lawsuit is uncertain, the parties have engaged in settlement discussions. The newly appointed SEC chair, Gary Gensler, is considered an authority on cryptocurrency, which he taught about at MIT. Gensler may take an interest in the Ripple case and any resulting regulatory framework, potentially leading to a more balanced approach by the SEC moving forward. While the SEC seeks to protect the public and ensure compliance with securities laws, it also seems to understand the potentially significant benefits associated with blockchain technology. In a recent risk alert, the SEC advised investment advisors, broker-dealers, and national securities exchanges of the advances in distributed ledger technologies while recommending best practices for maintaining compliance with securities laws. Moving forward, cryptocurrency proprietors must stay up to date on the rapidly developing laws and regulations in this space and should consult experienced cryptocurrency or securities counsel with any questions. Hit that subscribe button for more. XRP Technical Analysis. Let's look at daily XRP USD. March 29th seems to be a critical day with respect to XRP. There are two long-term closing triangles that have formed. One of those will be exited early, come March 29th. If XRP closes above 50 cents on March 29th, we will be exiting the triangle formed from the late January, early February high and subsequent low to the high side. If XRP closes below 50 cents, we will be exiting the triangle formed from the November high and subsequent low to the low side. So keep an eye on the 50-cent mark come March 29th. A close above 50 cents may lead us to great news come the lawsuit, as well as the establishment of Flare Network. April seems to be setting up for some fireworks. If we look at the weekly XRP BTC chart, there's a massive bullish divergence on the weekly time frame in the XRP BTC chart. We can also see a quite similar fractal pattern to early 2017, two fake outbreaks with subsequent dumps. In 2017, it was more benign than this time, but back then, the time scale was also longer. This was now amplified because of the commotion with the SEC. But note how fascinating. Despite the SEC turmoil, XRP BTC prints a setup which is remarkably similar to the one in early 2017. Similar double peak pattern, similar bullish divergence in the RSI. This time, however, the bullish divergence in the RSI is a lot stronger than back then. The coil has been stretched much further this time than back then, and a coil that is stretched too far bears great force within, ready to explode with the utmost imaginable power. I assume that XRP BTC will now start printing first a small weekly green candle, then a larger one, then an even larger one. How high it will go and how long it will last, of course, also depends strongly on BTC. Will BTC do a 2013 or 2017 repeat? That will also determine if XRP will do one single gigantic rally or two rallies, like back in 2017-18. I think the conservative target for XRP USD is $10 in this bull run. This is a lower limit. However, if BTC does a double rally and indeed reaches prices as crazy as 200,000, an upper limit for XRP USD would be, as crazy as it sounds, $40 to $50. I'll keep a close eye on BTC and XRP BTC to determine how high XRP can go this cycle. I think the entire SEC thing will have no effect whatsoever on the price action, maybe some short-term action, but the end price will reach these values no matter what the outcome will be. Please keep in mind, we are not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Now, tell us what you think in the comments section below. Let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and to click on the subscribe button below. Turn on notifications to get informed when we post more amazing content. We'll see you in the next video.